This is the one where I ask Max Fosh, legend of YouTube, 4 billion followers at the very least, and that was only when he arrived. It's probably 5 or 6 billion by now.
Yeah.
How do you internet? I'm going to say to him, I'm going to throw myself upon his mercy and just ask him this, implore him, in fact. Teach me, Vanessa Feltz, television legend, how to internet. Hello, thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
Incredibly nice to see you.
That dress is incredible.
What, this understated little number?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
And also the bouquet of flowers, almost so big I can't see you.
I like your posh twat signet ring.
Thank you very much.
Very, very nice.
You've got to be on brand but also self-deprecating at the same time.
I know that.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
Of course
I know that. Tell me something. When I say teach me how to internet,
yes.
Is it something that can be taught, like being a pastry chef or a gardener, or is it something that you have to have an innate flair, a certain kind of, USP that means you can just do it and other people just can't?
So I think it depends, when you say the internet, it depends on what app you're talking about. So they always say, okay, right, on Twitter, you've got to be funny and keep up with current affairs. Instagram, you've got to look pretty.
That's me. I've got 400,000 followers.
There you go.
In just 2 years.
And how many do you have on Twitter?
From a standing start, 26,000.
But
I don't nurture it the same way.
So we know that people want the prettiness from Vanessa Feltz.
That's exactly it.
And then TikTok is just about being really in tune with internet culture and hopping onto trends.
Right.
So it kind of depends like where you think your skill sets lie. So some people are very, very big on Twitter because they can be very acerbic and funny and witty. Mm-hmm. Some people can put together a fantastic picture and that will look good. Mm-hmm. And then on YouTube is genuine. I like to say YouTube is no different from telly in the sense that you've got an amount of time which you can tell a story. So that can be a minute or 10 minutes and it's completely up to you. So yes, of course it can be taught. My question is, do you use social media and which social medias do you use?
Well, I am queen of Instagram.
Yes.
I was nothing. I had an £8 Nokia for years and years and I still don't laugh. Oh, don't laugh.
No, I mean, the Nokia 3310 is got to be
I don't
one
know
of the
what
finest phones.
number it was. I could make a phone call if
Yeah.
I really, really wanted to. I could take a photograph of at least one of my bosoms and send it to somebody who was
Sure.
interested. And that's basically all
Yeah.
I used it for. And that's my daughter over there just
Boob.jpg.
hiding behind the chaise longue.
So in terms of how can you use the internet?
Yes.
So the main thing is do you use it, right?
Me?
Yes.
Well, I do. Well, I love Instagram, and I
Great.
feel very comfortable and familiar with it, and I like the feel of it.
Great.
And I feel as if I know what I'm doing, and I feel as if I learned it very quickly.
Good.
And so I built from nothing at all, and not even being online, to 400,000 followers in just over 2 years, and that's good, right?
Amazing. So,
yeah.
but
But TikTok
yeah.
is an alien world where I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. I'm sort of floundering about, not really. I haven't got the feel of it. I haven't got the
Okay.
the instinct of what you're supposed to be doing.
Now, I think you've got to kind of just work out what your positioning is amongst the kind of the sphere. Now, beloveds, Vanessa Feltz, daytime telly, everyone knows. So I think if it's giving people a side of Vanessa Feltz they wouldn't normally see on the Squeaky Clean, LBC or This Morning, then I think that is where there could be some interesting views there, because it's subverting expectation of what people might think of what you're like or who you are, subverting expectations.
But isn't it interesting that very soon, when you become as established and hugely successful as you have, you're no longer subverting people's expectation of you. What you're doing is delivering and then having to deliver and re-deliver and re-deliver on the premise and the promise that they're expecting from you.
Although, I mean, all the videos that I create is around an idea. So the idea is the interesting part rather than me, myself as a person.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. Yes. I'm going to say that watching more and more of your work, as I have done, and really bathing in it and really kind of subsuming myself in it, I am really fascinated about you, and I feel that what we see of you is delightful. You're always nice, kind, always. There's no malice, there's no nastiness.
Yeah.
I think you leave people feeling better than they were when you first saw them.
Yeah.
You're jolly, you're very polite, and you bring a load of sort of gaiety to the nations, no question. But do we know anything about you? Do we really know you, do you think?
Well, I think then you've got to decide whether you are an idea-based creator or a personality-based creator. Right. So idea-based creator, you're not, as you say, people aren't so much fascinated as the person, but more the idea. But personality creators absolutely is what are they doing, what are they wearing, who are they seeing? Yeah. I realised very early doors that there wasn't much interesting there from me as a personality, because ex-Harrovian posh boy.
That is interesting, though.
Well, it's not, because we don't, surprise, surprise, this is going to be very outrageous, we don't have the best PR, ex-Harrovians.
But you are your own PR, right?
Exactly. So I kind of worked very quickly into the idea side of things, and I try, because of the pranky, fun, silly nature, I realised there was a niche in trying to make things that, as you say, didn't feel like I was punching down. There wasn't a butt of the joke, because ultimately I think that was very much the 90s of, you know, Jackass and maybe the Dom Jolly stuff, and that has slightly moved on now, where people don't like seeing people being taken advantage of. So I try very hard to make sure that that's not the case. But that's just the one niche that I can go down to, that I go into. I have no idea about. I don't really take part in the TikTok trends.
Right.
But I know that that is one way in which you can grow on TikTok. So talk to me about the Instagram growth. What have you been posting on Instagram?
Well, Gokwan, my pal,
Yeah.
said work, rest and play. So that's what I post.
Okay.
Something a bit profesh.
Yeah.
Something a bit fun, whizzing up a red carpet, or
Yeah.
eating a bun with a pal,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And a bit of like behind the scenes of my actual life in the airing cupboard or wherever I happen to be doing whatever I'm doing that you might not see of me in general.
Yeah.
And it's working very well.
Fantastic. Yeah. So then I think it seems like you've got a good idea about what works on Instagram. So it's about, are they videos, are they pictures?
Both. Reels and stories, yeah.
Okay, so then you go and find the most popular video that you've done. Identify.
That's me being drunk, sitting drunk outside a place on a wall.
Get the
Just
rosé
saying,
in, Vanessa.
I'm just sitting on a wall. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. One speedy pina colada, like that.
Great. You could easily do a weekly series. Come to the pub with Vanessa, and it's just you sit the camera down, you get some wine, you roll it. People come say hello. You start chatting. You just snip it up, snip, snip, snip. There you go. And formatting can be the start to something really, really useful, because once you understand what one bit of content works, you generate a framework of formatting around it. This is old TV entertainment, just kind of like rules. And then you can...
And when you say formatting, you mean the kind of the way in which you show...
The reason why that video got successful. Okay, right, so maybe they love seeing the stripped back, authentic nature of, Vanessa Feltz down the pub. Okay, so what can we do around that doesn't require you having to get absolutely wasted every single time? Although, I mean, you can then expense it. So
absolutely right.
It is work.
Talk to me about people who are watching this because they really fancy doing, obviously not exactly what you do, but they think what a great way of making a living, so much nicer than a conventional job.
Yes.
I really think I could do this. I'm imaginative, I'm fun, I'm clever, I look nice, and I'd love to do it.
Yes.
But they're not sure how you get from the bit where you had a good idea.
Yeah.
So for example, you thought a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Right, I'll make a film about that. I'll do something about that. I'll give people sugar, I'll give them medicine, I'll wait outside the doctors, whatever it is, and see whether it works.
Yeah.
And you do. And then there it is on YouTube, but no one's seen it, no one notices it, even your mother hasn't realised it's there. You really could keep saying, oh, well, have you seen it? No one's seen it. And all you're thinking of is, algorithm, please love me.
Right.
Algorithm, I'm here, hey, it's me, algorithm, it's me, come on, come for me, algorithm. How do you tickle the fancy of the algorithm?
So, the best piece of advice I've ever been given is that whenever you say the word algorithm, replace the word algorithm with people.
Okay.
Because the algorithm...
I don't even really know what an algorithm is.
Exactly.
I was told to say that.
Exactly.
Governor, it weren't me, Governor.
So
it weren't my idea.
It's good because a lot of people talk about, if a video performs bad, the algorithm hates me.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to blame this shadowy, abstract thing.
Is it a real thing?
I mean, all it is people. Because
is it a computer? What is an
so
algorithm
what happens
anyway?
is, platform, let's say TikTok, right? You post a video. TikTok will then watch, for example, 100 people interact with that bit of content. They see how long they're watching it for, when they swipe off, whether they like, whether they comment. And from that small subset, they can see, okay, these 100 people really enjoyed it because they watched it all the way through, they liked it and they commented. Okay, let's serve this to 1,000 people. Right. They watch that subset. Do people like that? Great, let's serve it more and more and more. So if you want the algorithm to like you, the best way is to make content that people want to watch. And so back to your first question about how do I get started? I made my first video in 2017 and I made my first pound in 2020. Ooh. So it took me 3 years because I loved creating, and I started off doing vox pop interviews outside nightclubs in Newcastle where I was at university, and I just stood there and did that for 2 years and nothing happened, and I was like, oh God, this is, oh God, what should I do? And then lockdown happened, and I did a series where I tried to find the woman from a stock photo that I had in a frame in my flat. I was like, I wonder who that is. Yeah. And so I did a 3-part series of that. People really enjoyed that storytelling element. So then I was like, oh, maybe they like more story-based. So it grew and grew and grew. So it's never this straight linear path. It is, you're zigzagging constantly, learning, okay, I'm good at that, I'm really bad at that. Let me just adapt accordingly. And then eventually you are cooking Iceland ready meals in a volcano. Like, kind of, that's the...
And talk to me about money, because you said it took several years to make your first pound.
Yes.
So we don't need to discuss how you survived those 3 years. I don't know whether you turned tricks in the evening or quite how you did it, but somehow or other you managed to survive with just £1 in 3 years, which is a feat in itself, quite frankly. But then you are making money.
Yes.
Is it a kind of obvious leap to making lots of money, or might you just be kind of limping about in the shallows for a while?
You start just building slowly, and so there's 3 main avenues in which you make money on YouTube mainly. Right. Firstly is ad revenue. So before a video plays on YouTube, there'll be an ad that Google puts in, and you get approximately £3 or £4 per 1,000 views. Right. So if you get a video that has 1 million views, that's about £3,000 or £4,000. So that's the advertising beforehand. Then you can do brand deals.
Hang on, we just need to repeat that, because that's not much money, is it?
Not a huge amount.
So 1 million people view it, and you get £3,000 to £4,000. I mean, it's nice, but it's not a
it depends. It definitely depends on who your audience is. So YouTube then will pay more if your audiences have a higher disposable income. So, for example, if your audience is the US or Northern Europe or Scandinavia, you get paid more for your
isn't it? You're all over the world.
Yes. So I get paid about £4,000 per 1,000 views, per 1 million views. So then there's brand deals. So I can come say, Vanessa, you've got fantastic dress company, you've got fantastic autobiography that's coming out. I will talk about your autobiography for 60 seconds in my video, and I will charge X amount.
Whatever it is, I'm prepared to pay whatever it is.
So then that's the main way that I make money, and a lot of creators do make money. But your content slightly has to be relatively family friendly, or if the brand is quite happy to take a punt on something that's a bit raunchy, then they'll happily pay that. And the third one is just a community. You can monetize the community in various ways. So through merch, or for me, I do live shows, live stand-up shows, which I then sell directly to the audience. So those are the 3 main points. The AdSense, that's the smallest, the advertising before the video is the smallest, but the main is the brand deals and the touring. And so I started, kind of making £2,000 a month, £3,000 a month. Then when I just made enough, I thought, right, I need to get an editor so I can double the output. Then I got an editor, he helped me, we grew from there, and now I've got a producer, and so now I've got a team of kind of 4 or 5 people. Tell
me about the burden of having to think of something else each time, because I'm, in a much, much, much smaller way on Instagram, I do think, oh God, and if something awful happens, I think, oh, thank God. Thank God for that. I've just had my house broken into. Good, that's some content. Yeah. I've just been mugged. Hooray, good, that solves that for today. I'm not kidding. Yeah. God, there's a mouse. I came back home a few weeks ago. There's a mouse. Thank God. Thank God. Quick, get the mouse on film. Yeah. There's a mouse. Oh my God, there's a mouse. And I thought, oh, thank God that mouse has taken care of it. There's at least something's happened. Yeah. But sometimes I'm having an entirely tranquil day. As you know, I'm single at the moment. Not that if anyone wants to, take me up on that, please just change it, because I don't like being single. But I'm on my own, doing nothing but tending my roses, and what the bloody beeping hell am I meant to put on the bloody damn Instagram? So I don't know what to do, and then I have to think of something, and it is quite an effort. I mean, it really is. And then I think, rather than force them to watch some old crap that I've just dreamed up, just don't put anything on. But you don't really want to do that either, do you? So tell me about the burden of thinking of the gem idea, an elephant in the room. I will get an actual elephant, I'll put it in an actual room, I'm really going to do it. So I am part of the team because I realise that it's so important for me is the ideas. That is my entire brand. Yeah. And so weekly I have 2 writers who are from the TV world. We come in and do brainstorm days. The whole day is just, right, okay, and we give ourselves parameters. So I've recently been to the States, and I thought, right, I'm going to be in the States for 3.5 weeks. Yeah. What can I do? So we first
spoke about what the most common things you think of when you think of America. So we thought of cowboys, we thought of wildlife, Wall Street, and Vegas.
Is this when you got the cowboys to play polo?
Exactly. So we thought, right, cowboys. Then we think, right, okay, cowboys. That's the topic. How do we come up with a video idea of that? What's the juxtaposition? What's the most contrasting thing we can think of? Cowboys, polo. Let's marry them together. Let's teach them how to play polo. Yeah. So that is very, in its simplistic way, how I come up with the ideas. But you're absolutely right. There have been times when I think, what the hell am I going to post?
Damn hell.
And sometimes it requires just a little bit of breathing space, because also the audience might want to have a little bit of breathing space from you as well, because you don't want to be constantly bombarded. So I feel it is the constant, like, and if you don't post a video, money's going out the business. So I've got to keep
exactly. But it is a difficult
upload.
one, isn't it? It is actually, it really is. And however fertile your imagination and however many sources there are and whatever, it still is. You're like, hang on, wait. We've done an elephant in the room. We've done the cowboy playing polo. I've been London Mayor, and I've been a member of the royal family. Talk to me about the kind of production values and the kind of epic nature of what you do, because a lot of what we do is expensive. I mean, you like that huge sign saying Luton Airport or saying whatever airport it was at the other airport. When you said Luton,
I said welcome to Luton.
You said welcome to Luton, exactly, and it wasn't really. You know, the volcano, the trip to America, the horses. It's expensive stuff. I mean, you're kind of the Cecil B. DeMille of YouTube, and that's a huge compliment. You really are, though. So you must have to balance the kind of cost and the enormity of the production with whether it's going to actually net you any more money than if you're just sitting in your own kitchen tasting fish fingers.
Absolutely.
Which actually they may love to see you do.
Sometimes we very much have to weigh up whether a video is going to be really expensive or it's, because sometimes people say, oh, how much money do I need to start a YouTube channel? Ideas like the quality of the idea can be completely free. The idea itself can be, so one of my most successful videos is where I technically became the richest man in the world for 7 minutes. That was purely talking about a loophole that I'd found, signed some papers, and then I could say I was technically what. That cost me £0.
By the way, are you still married to that fellow?
We have eventually got a divorce, but because it was a homosexual relationship, you can't get an annulment, so I was married for a year.
I must say you did look a bit concerned when you found that out.
That was really worrying.
Your face was really, your face was an absolute picture.
But then there's
hang on, I've just got home, and actually, I have just learnt something, and oh my God, I think I've got to stay married for a whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, you were not acting. It was it was fantastic.
It really was worrying.
Yes.
So there is, but then conversely, so then I can save the money up in the videos that aren't very expensive and are more kind of whimsical and technical, and then we are able to, hire a grizzly bear, which we've just done in America. Because we wanted to see who could eat more hot dogs, a grizzly bear or a competitive eater.
And do you do the sums to see if it's worth the investment?
Yes, we do often do the sums, but luckily now we got to a stage where the brand deals are large enough that I can almost greenlight any idea that I've got.
Oh, that's exciting.
If it's within kind of £10,000 to £20,000.
And so do you now have kind of cinematic aspirations, televisual aspirations, or are you fulfilling all your aspirations?
I think that it's about kind of elevating something. I think there's a slight misconception about YouTube being like, oh, it's kids running around with their iPhone, and I think we are seeing a movement away from, especially in the kind of comedy and light entertainment world, a lot of it is now moving over to YouTube. So I don't want to lose a lot of the authenticity and the scrappiness that comes with YouTube, because I think that's quite useful. But I do want to make bigger ideas, and kind of I've had an idea where I want to compete in different countries' weirdest game shows. So, in Germany, they have one where they cut one in half and they just see whether it's perfect symmetry. So I want to go around the world and compete in the odd Japanese game show, the odd German game show. So I know that will be a lot of money and that will be a bigger production. So that is currently sat there thinking, okay, how do we fund this? What does it mean if we make this? How much money can we lose? What's the purpose of it? So I don't think I can continue what I'm doing for forever, but I think there is a natural progression, a natural step.
Are you aware that there might be a kind of disparity between what fascinates you, because you've done so many now that you actually must have a grizzly bear and you must go and compete on a Japanese game show, and what your audience really wants, which is just to see you, their favourite, doing something like have a cup of tea and a cake? How do you stop yourself fixating on the numbers?
You don't try to. It's a losing battle. You're going up against the might of psychologists in Silicon Valley, and you are one brain. It's about just trying to make sure you don't get too upset about it. Because I could sit here and be like, oh yeah, you should try and do this, try and do that. No, I am like the rat in the experiment of like refreshing the page. How many views has it got? How many likes has it got?
How often do you check? If
a video is doing well, something's performing really well, kind of every 30 minutes. It's really bad.
And are you ever confused? Do you ever see one that isn't doing as well and you just don't get why?
Yes.
Because actually it was much better than that, it was more funny, you know, you loved that bit and that bit and it's somehow not flying.
A video I did recently, teaching cowboys how to play polo, has performed terribly. And I have no idea why. I think it's a fun concept, I think it's a good video, things happen, there's twists, there's
Shall
turns.
I suggest a reason?
Yes, please.
I mean, could it be that most people don't know how to play polo? So they don't know whether they're doing it wrongly or whether it's funny or comical or how clumsy they're being.
Absolutely.
Or could it be that?
I think it's maybe that polo is
minority interest thing.
Polo is just not interesting to the large amounts of people. I thought maybe it would be because there's Posh, the sport. It's a slight insight
Harry
into.
and Meghan are hoping it's going to be because they're doing a documentary on it, aren't they?
Guys, don't cut it. No, pull the funding. No one gives a shit. Just don't worry about it.
I think it's a minority, very push, tiny little interest for very few people. And
right, okay, I'm going to take it out the title. So that's good, that's great, because I can change the title.
Not glamorous enough to people who aren't interested to still be interesting.
Great. I think the thing is, like, this is what we need on YouTube.
I reckon that might be why.
Fantastic.
I don't know, but that's what I think.
Great.
You know, so for example, I mean, I've been to polo maybe twice in my life.
And you don't really think about it, you don't really care. And you're not really interested, you don't care about the notion of cowboys playing polo.
I attended a polo match because I was invited. I felt Jewish and out of place. I felt, you know, middle class and not upper middle class, and certainly not any posher than that.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really care that much what was going on. I cared more about the tea.
Yeah.
Prince Harry was there.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get off with Kelly Brook, actually.
Oh, at that
Am I
time,
allowed to say
did
that
he
on
succeed?
film? I can't tell you that. I don't know. That's why I
don't-
can't
you
tell you.
don't-
If I knew, I would have told you.
Not because you're
I
under
don't know.
NDA, because
He's
you weren't there.
not for want of trying, let's put it that way. And he was very jolly, let's say that. But I mean, was I interested in the polo? Not really. So, and also, am I that interested in cowboys? I don't know, probably not that much, maybe a bit.
God, so it's just been an oversight from
But
my
I'm
part.
not your audience, am I?
No,
I'm
but
not your core audience.
you are, but as I said, the algorithm is people. So
Right.
people have not wanted to watch it for some reason. There's a reason.
I
So
think
it's probably
it's
those
the
two.
polo. I don't think it's the cowboys. I think it's the polo. I think it's just polo. They just think I don't know about polo.
Great. Well, I'm going to change the title to make it less polo-y and more cowboy-y.
So I heard that your sister
Yes.
is a very gifted therapist.
She is.
Yeah, and I heard that she sometimes helps you not get absolutely wretched if your numbers aren't quite what you hope they
Yes. Okay. Here we go. This is. I've got the Vanessa Feltz treatment here. She's kind of got into the old psyche here. Yes, my sister is a therapist. She is a very good one. She's written a book, and she's also been a fantastic part in the videos as well. Like, you know, taking the mick out of her. But she has been very helpful. I mean, I've been quite lucky that I've been someone who's been going to therapy since I was 9. My parents split up when I was quite young, and so it's been something that's
Helps.
an family. Yeah, it helps. So
helps a hell of a lot.
we've been doing the kind of the lefty liberal snowflake stuff for years.
Yes.
So I'm very, very comfortable about talking about mental health.
Me too.
Which,
Me too. Same.
of course.
I mean, when I just had my recent split, which was January 2023, at one point I was.
I thought you were about to say at 1 p.m. and I thought, wow, you've really
I know
set
the time.
the time.
I can give you the time.
Okay,
I can give you the time. I think it was about 7:25 p.m. January 15th, 2023, and at one point, quite soon after, I think I was seeing 3 different therapists a week, just hoping one of them might say one thing I wanted to hear, which isn't quite how you're supposed to do it, is it?
It's not quite
It's
how
also
you do
really expensive as well.
It's an expensive way to play. That sounds like you're playing
I was
therapy.
like, hang on, now what do you think? Oh, yeah, no, what do you think? Oh, no, I don't like that either. What do you think? Nah. But let me ask you though, how does she help you when the figures aren't doing what they ought to, or when they are and it's been absolutely amazing,
Yeah.
you've got a huge kind of tidal wave of oxytocin feeling
Yeah,
brilliant,
yeah.
and then you feel weird, and you know that thing.
So she and my girlfriend have the same reaction to me whenever I'm having a bit of a tears because something's not performing very well.
Yeah.
And it's always, Max, for God's sake, you make YouTube videos. Chill out. Like it is like
Except it is your job.
It
and
is
does
my job.
matter.
It is my job, and it does matter. But it is, if you do really pull out, things are going very well. I've really been very kind of privileged, and I feel very happy with where I am in my career. And if I look too micro in it, then that is where madness lies.
On the other hand, if you don't really care, that people might say that's a slippery slope too. You have to really care.
Yeah.
You have to care as much about the next one as the other one, and you have to really mind.
So looking at it like a job has been the most helpful thing for me. So I have an office now. I go in 10 till 6. don't like getting up early in the morning, so 10 a.m. it was. And that's been super helpful because then I can compartmentalize, okay, work and then not work.
Yeah.
So that's been very helpful. But ultimately, it's a lot of, I mean, I do really get frustrated when my sister says for me to think about my inner child, because it's just such a cop-out thing that therapists say.
You might say your whole job is your inner child.
Exactly.
And you do nothing but think about and nurture your inner child.
Exactly.
You're certainly not doing your inner grown-up, are you?
I'm just answering the questions that my inner child had
just in a room with an elephant.
all those years ago.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of questions about that. And do you have any therapists in your life as friends?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, my daughter's a therapist.
It's an absolute nightmare, isn't it? When especially when a family member is a therapist.
Oh my God.
Because it's just like, can we just have a fight and not you not therapize this
All
whole
she wants to
situation?
do is talk to me about attachment theory the whole time.
Are you an avoidance?
Mate, I've something in my
anxious
soul.
attached?
Something in my soul.
Anxiously attached, okay.
Anxiously attached, but something in my soul just shuts down every time she tries to tell me which attachment thingy I am.
Has Saskia given you the book called Attached, which has got a little magnet on the
have
front?
you? All I can hear.
That's the next
should
step.
you? Oh Christ! All I can hear is attachment theory, and I just can't hear which one I am. I don't really want to know.
Is it because you
which one
don't want to know?
I don't want to know, do I?
No, that's fair enough.
And also, I don't want to watch myself doing it, thinking, "Ooh, here I am, an avoidant thingy-bob, doing a weird attachment up thing." I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
Really.
Well.
And also, I keep hoping I won't be anymore.
No, you will. You are.
Forever.
Unfortunately.
Can't you be cured of it then?
You can develop coping mechanisms against it.
Oh God!
Like I have.
Mostly by being in really good relationships.
Yeah.
I'm in what am I, an anxious?
You're
Anxious attached.
I'm
anxious attached.
That's why I'm hoping you'll stay the night and never leave. Don't go. I'll give you another eclair.
I mean, do you know?
Don't leave,
I
please.
am Vanessa. I'm an avoidant. So you and I would
Oh, God.
have a very intense relationship for about 6 months,
then really-
I would run away, and you would be like, "What? Why?"
Oh God! Thank
think
God
we
you
should try
warned
it.
me because I was just about to fall in love with you.
There we go.
Okay, more questions.
Yes.
This is really the big one. You're going on a huge tour.
Yes,
and
I
it's
am.
properly huge. It's kind of the world.
It's the world-ish.
It's the Christopher Columbus of tours.
It's the English-speaking world.
It's really something. It's
Yeah,
hugely
it's-
ambitious and really amazing.
24
It
hours
is.
post sales have dropped. I'm feeling a little bit too ambitious at the moment.
I think it's going to be superb.
No, it's gonna be fun. We've doing the Hammersmith Apollo,
Yeah.
so that's 3,500 seats. And that
Wow.
when I grew up, because I grew up relatively close, and so going past that was like the real
Yes.
kind of the North Star.
Mecca,
And
absolutely.
so we've sold very well there, so that's gonna be very exciting. And it's basically a show that is telling the stories about times when I might have got in trouble. I've been sued quite a few times by people because I've done something naughty. My lawyer is somebody who gets called very, very regularly, which I imagine that's what it must have been like in TV in the 90s.
Very
Just
similar. Are you allowed to? I mean, are you able to keep calm when this happens?
Not. So I've got better. Like
Yes.
when I get a cease and desist letter through now, I'm not as panicky as I used to be. I got a cease and desist letter through from a popular London family attraction. And instead of getting very upset, I then thought, actually, I would like this to go to court because that is really funny.
Great publicity.
It would have been really good publicity.
Yeah.
So I did. My lawyer did actually have to tell me to stop to stop being so gung ho about it, because I was like, no, I do want this to go to court. But I'm getting slightly better at panicking whenever I get a scary letter with red
And
lights.
is your material in the bag? Have you written the show?
I've written about 75-80% of the show.
And is this with your co-writers?
With my co-writers, and I've got a director as well who's absolutely fantastic called Ed, and he is basically kind of like whipping me into shape and be like, no, that's not very good. And he comes from the traditional comedy background and theatre, so it's not just YouTuber on stage doing YouTubery things. It's a show that anyone can enjoy.
And are you hoping to do a sort of Mo Gilligan and go from a social media person to a mainstream person?
I mean, that's absolutely, but that's kind of none of my business, because what I find very frustrating about television is that somebody else has to decide whether to give you the opportunity.
Well, it's very, very different from being the arbiter and the architect of
Absolutely.
your own destiny. Very different.
The idea that I'm going to wait for somebody else to say, "Oh, here's your own show," or "Yeah, we think that's good. We think you can do this opportunity," is like whereas I can just do it myself. If something comes a calling, absolutely. But the amount, I tell you what, you telly people, you love a meeting about nothing.
Yeah, they love a meeting. They love it because they like the idea that they can call you into a meeting and you will go.
Yes.
Whether the meeting is going anywhere is another whole
And then
thing.
it's gonna
They just
sit
like
there
you
and
to
like-
show up. They want you to. In fact, it happened to me this very morning. Will I do a gig? And I said, yeah. And then they said, And will you come to a meeting about it on such? I thought, what's there to meet about?
Yeah,
I'm doing it. I know how to do it. You know, you've asked me to do it. What else do we need to meet for? Why? But it's partly they just want to get you in and say, well, Max came in.
Right.
You know,
Vanessa
Max Fosh
came
is
out.
here. Look, he's in that room there.
Vanessa fell on the wall.
He's in the Jill Dando
Are
Memorial room.
Are you on? You know, in like restaurants when they, you know, sign things. What's?
I won't go to any restaurants. They don't have a picture of me on the wall.
That's fair enough. Do you have them in your bag just in case?
Yes, of course. Yes, just
Pre-sign.
a hand out, like a bit like a going home present.
No.
What do you mean?
No, that's
What
fantastic.
kind of question is that?
I've got a question for you, Vanessa,
Yes.
and it's about the first time I think I became really aware of you, and I want to know what it was like for your experience, was about when Little Britain did the stuff with you.
Yes.
Was it with you? Were they mentioning you?
No, it was with me.
It was with
yes,
you?
No, yeah. It was Matt Lucas and David Williams, and it was Fat Fighters.
Yes, it was Fat
And
Fighters.
Matt Lucas was Marjorie Dawes.
Yes.
And I was kind of the guest speaker at a meeting of Fat Fighters.
Yes.
And at some point, Marjorie Dawes had to spit at me.
And was that when that phone rang? Was that an easy yes?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was an instant yes.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Lucas is a haberdasher and so am I.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, when you're old school...
Old haberdasher.
old haberdasher. When the old school tie, you know, summons, you go. So
Yeah,
I
of
do anything
course.
for Ali G, obviously, because he's also an old boy.
Yeah.
Anything for David Baddiel, of course.
Of course.
And note the absence of famous old girls, because there are none. I'm the only one.
Are you the only one?
Yes, yes.
So do you get invited back to all of the older
Yes.
haberdashery meets?
Yes, and also my grandson now goes fourth generation.
Fourth gen?
Yeah, my kids went, I went, my Uncle Clive
So the
went.
trauma of you going to old haberdashers wasn't like... You enjoyed your time there, I'm assuming?
Fabulous.
Great.
Fabulous. Lots and lots of snogging on the high barnet coach. Bliss, absolute bliss. But what am I talking about? I can't remember.
Well, I was asking about what it was like when you got that
Oh,
phone
yeah,
call
yeah.
from...
So they were, first of all, we had to rehearse in a town hall or a sort of place. Like, I think it was Toynbee Hall or something in the East End. We had to rehearse and rehearse.
And this wasn't with... Was this with Matt and David
Yes,
as well?
Yes, it was only with Matt and David. We had to
Oh, right.
rehearse and rehearse this shtick or whatever it
Yeah.
was. I mean, I didn't really know why.
You were given
They
lines,
took
I'm
it
assuming,
very,
was it?
very seriously. They could not have taken it more seriously.
Well, at that point, it was the biggest show on telly.
So the work that went into it was enormous. So there was a tremendous amount of rehearsing.
Yeah.
And then there was an inordinate amount of discussion about how they were going to spit in my face without actually coating me in Matt Lucas's saliva, because though he was an old haberdasher, I wouldn't really have liked that all that much.
No.
So it was all about the props and how it was going to work. And essentially, my face was coated in a kind of film of plastic that you couldn't see. But it meant that when I was spat at, the spittle and the saliva did not actually touch me. So it looked as if I was showered in it, but I wasn't. I was protected from it.
It's TV
But
magic.
the discussion about how this was going to be achieved, and you know the methods that they decided not to use but could have used, and the final chemical potion that they did use rather than... I mean, it was absolutely extraordinary. And then on the day, I had a Winnebago, a huge...
Name?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And an absolutely,
Star above?
Yes.
Yeah.
And a huge, kind of, what do you call, like a film set with a big lot with Winnebagos on it.
Yeah.
And, God, it was absolutely amazing. It was a huge production, absolutely enormously expensive and complex and amazing production. And I got thoroughly spat at, and I didn't feel any of it because I had this plastic coating.
Was it well paid?
Not really.
No.
I think I got about $2,000 or something.
Oh, God, to be spat by Matt
Yeah,
Lucas.
but it was worth it. It was
Yeah.
well worth it. And
It
it
was-
lives on.
It lives on.
It lives on. It's my best legacy, probably.
Here lies Vanessa Feltz was once spat on
Do you
by
know
Matt
something?
Lucas.
I have not put it in the autobiography that I've just written. I haven't even mentioned it.
Call the publishers, recall it.
I keep on. You know what I thought? Well, I tell you, the other day, Mark, who's over there, bought me, because apparently on YouTube a big thing to do, or maybe it's on TikTok, I don't know, is to react to stuff of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So he bought me stuff to react to. And one of the things I had to react to was the Heineken commercial. Do you know anything about this?
No.
So this was a Heineken commercial that was shot in 2000 on the Pinewood lot, in the Pinewood Film Studios. And the other people in this series of commercials, it was 4 commercials, me, Jimmy Savile, I know, Jimmy Hill, do you know who he is?
Yeah, the
Former footballer and
footballer,
pundit.
yeah,
Yes. Paul Daniels, the late Paul Daniels,
Yeah.
and the lovely Debbie McGee.
Yeah.
Tamara Beckwith, the socialite.
I don't know her.
Lisa Riley, who was in Emmerdale,
Yes.
playing Mandy Dingle, and me. And the premise
The
of
Avengers of the...
the premise of this was, if you don't buy more Heineken, we're just going to keep on showing this commercial.
Good
With
premise.
these, oh yeah, and Peter Stringfellow. And
How can we forget Peter?
I don't know, I just forgot that bit. And when Mark brought it to me and showed you, I realised I hadn't put that in my autobiography either. Haven't mentioned that.
Well, there you go.
Haven't
You've got good anecdotes when you're doing the press tour.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're talking like Heineken advert, Little Britain being spat on.
So I'll just give you one vignette from the Heineken advert?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was commercial 2 or 3. Peter Stringfellow is swinging from the rafters in a sort of harness dressed as Cupid. And I am swinging high above the sound stage, leaning on a sort of crescent moon with my feet dangling down outside, dressed as an angel with a lyre or a harp or something.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, Vanessa and Peter and Vanessa, okay, commercial 2, Heineken, take 1. And then Peter and I start singing, why do birds suddenly appear every time? And Peter goes, oh, my balls are killing me, get me down, my balls are agony, and my balls and someone dislodge my balls with. And then Derek's like, could somebody please take Peter down, winch Peter down? Okay, okay, wardrobe, free Peter's balls.
Yeah.
Peter,
Hashtag
how are
free
your
Peter's balls?
How are your balls, Peter? Well, they're all right now. They're swinging in the breeze. Peter, okay, get some air around them, Peter. Peter, tell me have you got the feeling back?
And
in
you're
your balls?
still up there.
I'm just hanging on a thing, leaning on a moon. Peter, have you got the feeling back in your balls? Feeling come back to your balls, Pete? You okay, Peter? I think so. Yes, I'm okay. All right, winch Peter up, everybody. Wardrobe off the set, please. Winch Peter up. Okay, Vanessa and Peter, Heineken advert. Take 2. Take 2. Why do birds suddenly... Oh, I can't stand it. My balls are absolutely agony. Get me down. I'm in agony. I can't bear it. Get me down. 26 takes. Peter's balls.
And he never had kids ever again.
No, he was about 100 years old then. So one of the things that seems clear watching you is you really put a hell of a lot of work in.
Try to.
Yes, and it sort of shows. You're just trying hard, you're rushing about, you're really, it looks time consuming and arduous and a lot of toil.
Yeah.
Is that part of the success? Do you think people see you working so hard, they like it?
I think so. I think people can appreciate if you have put a lot of effort into something, especially so silly. So if they can see that I have spent a lot of money in order to spend 24 hours with an elephant in a room, then that almost kind of gives that gives you a bit of a cachet with the audience to be like, okay, fine, I will watch this because he has put a lot of time in. But I genuinely think that the craft of telling a story, of being able to engage with someone on the internet or television or whatever medium it is, does take time and hard work and understanding what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are.
And anyone who's just aspiring to be you
Yes.
and would like to just kick off somehow,
Oh, yes.
what would you say to do to start?
Press publish, upload something, just anything, because I think a lot of people then spend a lot of time in the metaphorical classroom being like, okay, what can I make, what can I do? And ultimately, if you just make 5 minutes of something about anything, right, let's make 5 minutes about these flowers, then you are already taking that first step to doing something else. You don't need to publish it, don't need to publish it at all, but you can just make it, watch it again, leave it for a couple of weeks, come back, watch it, show it to some friends, ask them proper feedback, and say, okay, what's interesting. I also have something called the board button. So the board button is I get the whole team before we publish a video to watch the video we've just made, and they will have a pen in their hand, and any time they get bored, they will then mark. And then we go back and look at their sheets of paper and go, right, you marked 5 times, you go through each point and we try and work out why they got bored at that point.
And they're quite long, and is that because you can sell more advertising the longer they are, or because you like to tell a story that takes a long time?
You like to tell a story that takes a long time, but ultimately the advertising amount does also increase the longer the video is, because you can, of course, put more ads in.
While you've been sitting here, I've just had an idea.
What can we do together?
Well, I don't know what together, but do you like limericks? Are you a limerick fan?
I could, yes, of course.
I just wonder something to do with enacting.
Oh, limericks.
Because limericks are so surreal, or at least they mostly are.
Yeah, we've had.
Have you done limericks?
Well,
before?
we've not done limericks. We've done idioms before.
Yeah, no, I know you do idioms.
Yeah, but limericks we have not.
So, for example, do you have a favourite limerick?
I do not. No. Do you?
Well, I've got lots, actually.
Please.
I mean, I don't know if there's any copyright with limericks. There probably isn't, because they've probably been in folklore so long, haven't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, I can do The Man from Australia. I can do Evangeline Alice Dubois. I can do...
Do Man from Australia.
Okay, there was no... Well, this is a very basic limerick, but there was no man from Australia. I mean, I can imagine you enacting this beautifully, actually.
Yeah.
There was no man from Australia who painted his bum like a dahlia. Yeah. Tuppence a smell was all very well, but threepence a lick was a failure. You can imagine enacting that. But what about this one? This is very sexy and French and very exciting. Evangeline Alice Dubois committed a dreadful faux pas. Yeah. He unloosened the stay of her décolleté, emitting her je ne sais quoi. How about that? You see, you can imagine that.
There you go. You put
Imagine that just coming to life. Very Bridgerton.
Very Bridgerton.
Very, very Bridgerton.
You do them very stylised.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's lovely.
It's a little bit like there's a show called The Stand-Up Sketch Show where
Yeah.
they take 5 minutes of stand-up
Yeah.
and then like play it whilst also reenacting it.
That does sound good, actually.
Which is very good.
What about the Argentine gaucho named Bruno?
Who did what?
An Argentine gaucho named Bruno.
Yeah.
So there's one thing that really I do know. A woman is fine, a man is divine, but a llama is numero uno. And I just imagine you just getting the llama, didn't you?
Now, that is the one part of this job that
Yeah.
I have like my contact list
Yeah.
is phenomenal because I have the contacts of all sorts. I have a guy or a gal for anything.
Right.
And I do have a llama person.
I thought you would.
Yeah, a llama
I
girl.
can imagine that. A
She's
llama
great.
is
She's
numero
called
uno.
Zana. She's fantastic.
She reminds the llama pretty much.
Yeah. Any animal.
And just to
llama
say
can
one
get.
other thing, when those people were interviewing you, there's rather humorless American people. I'm not
Yes.
sure who they were.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Which American? Oh, Colin Samir. Oh,
Are they
yes,
meant
of
to
course.
be funny, those people?
No, they're more
deadly
getting into
serious,
the
aren't they?
nitty gritty of the creator economy.
God, they were so serious.
Yeah, very serious.
But two things really struck me about them. One was that they didn't understand that the elephant in the room was from the phrase "an elephant in the room."
Well, that's a good point because that video also didn't perform very well. So again, I think a lot of people didn't get that was a saying was
just
the elephant in the room.
extraordinary, isn't it?
So you've got to really be thinking about the lowest common denominator. Like, do people understand this?
Amazing.
And so
And
yeah.
the other bit that I thought was absurd was when you said, I've had a good idea and I think it's a really good idea, and that is to be an encouraging football fan.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
I thought that was such a fabulous,
they didn't
bang
like
up,
that.
brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's just, I thought it was marvellous, that idea.
Getting positive chance at the football.
I would put actual money on that one being an
Yeah.
absolute belter.
I do want to take a gospel choir to like an Arsenal match.
No, but say what you thought you'd say, like, oh, the ref. I think.
Yeah, the ref is doing his best.
Yes, the ref is. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and they were just not at all impressed by that. Why not?
No, hey, sometimes you got to. Maybe they're not fans of footy.
The ref is doing his best.
Do you
I thought it was
support a team?
absolutely- Get Arsenal or an Arsenal.
Oh God.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Sorry about
We are in
that.
North London after all.
Okay, let us finish just with a nice big up for the tour.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
come loophole, and genuinely any English-speaking city we're probably going to be going to. We're doing about 25 cities in the UK,
How long
Northern
is the whole
Europe.
thing going to take?
3 months.
Bloody hell!
I've got 65,000 tickets to sell.
Whoa!
So come on down. They're cheap as chips.
When does it start?
It starts on the 19th of October in
I
Cambridge.
wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you very much,
Very,
Vanessa.
very nice to meet you.
Vanessa, thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
coming.
It's been an honour. Made a childhood dream come true.